Workforce engagement is a critical topic for every business out there in today's rapidly changing world. And this new part of our Microsoft portfolio, Microsoft Viva, gives our partners a reason to engage with every single one of their customers.
Welcome to the Microsoft Cloud Executive Enablement Series, where we speak with Microsoft Cloud senior leaders and experts about the latest trends and technologies we're seeing in the market. The goal of this series is to share with you and your teams our perspective on the business value driven by the Microsoft Cloud for our mutual customers, and the opportunities for our partners to grow their business with Microsoft.
I'm Tom, and on today's episode, we're going to be joined by Angela Byers, who is the Senior Director of Product Marketing for Microsoft 365 and Viva. Angela, thank you so much for joining us. And today you're going to be talking to us a little bit about a product, one of the newest we have from Microsoft. But to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be at Microsoft.
Well, first, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to get to talk to both technology partners and advisory partners because my background really crosses both. I happen to have 3 degrees in engineering, and my career before Microsoft was in management consulting. So I love talking about both sides of the world. I've been at Microsoft for over a decade, and I have the privilege as a product marketing leader to lead some very established products like Microsoft Project and Microsoft Visio, and our newest, which is why we're here today, Microsoft Viva. It's been really fun. I got to get in on the ground before Viva even had a name. I got to be a part of conceptualizing the product, really the category, and the brand. And it's been incredibly fun 2 years growing this business from a go-to-market and outbound perspective.
Fantastic. Well, help me understand, what is Viva? Is it a product, a suite of products, an application? Just help us kind of frame how we should think about what Viva is.
Yeah, Microsoft Viva is what we call an integrated employee experience platform that brings all the tools that you and I need as employees into the flow of work to help us be our best selves at work. We design it to be an experience layer that connects into customers' systems of human resources or learning, and then connects that right into the flow of work, right into the Microsoft 365 productivity tools and teams.
So last couple of years has been, shall we say, a little bit disrupted. Pretty interesting time to try and launch a tool like this. How has the last couple of years in particular impacted, shaped what has become Viva?
Well, the last few years really propelled the whole employee experience conversation to the front of the C-suite. I mean, let's take us back to 2020 real quick. Beginning of pandemic. Overnight, everything went virtual. Satya called it the greatest remote work experiment ever. We stopped going to the office and we have to meet, collaborate, even onboard people virtually. And for us, we really thought that that wasn't going to be a blip. We had a feeling that's just the next iteration, the next step change toward flexible work. And, frankly, flexible work has always been here. We were always having, people on the roads, at the front line, et cetera. But I think the pandemic, the remote work experiment, really forced that reality on a greater majority of us. We really had to wrestle with questions of, how do we help employees co-create productively when they can't whiteboard together? Or how do we help new employees feel part of the company culture when they can't set foot in the office? So Viva was really born in a way out of us having to wrestle how to deal with those questions and how to help our customers deal with those too.
Right. And I mean, that was just at the beginning of 2020. I mean, fast forward that to February 2021. By the way, happy birthday to Viva. We're 1 year old now.
Thank you.
But a year later, February 2021, you launch Viva. A year later, what were those things that you feel like, yep, we got that right, it's working well, it's reinforced that we've been able to support what's become a new normal?
Yeah, I think building Viva into that flow of work, into the digital office, AKA Teams, has been hugely successful. Right, the pandemic skyrocketed Teams use. It grew like 4-fold, I think just even in the first 6 months. And now Teams monthly active users is at 280 million and more. And so from the get-go, we designed Viva to be experienced in the flow of work, in Teams, in Outlook, in other Microsoft 365 apps. And I think that's instrumental because if you don't build employee experience into the flow of work, people just won't use those apps. Or if they do, it's so divorced from where work is done, businesses just won't realize any impact or results.
So what are those sort of major areas that I'm going to experience Viva in my daily work or in my way that I interact?
Yeah, well, in total, Viva addresses the entire employee journey. And often our customers use Viva to transform the entire employee experience, which often is just part of their broader digital transformation agenda. But specifically, to answer your question, Viva addresses 4 employee needs or scenarios: connection, insight, purpose, and growth, which have always been critical drivers of productivity, performance, and impact, regardless of where people were working. But I do think hybrid work does put a greater spotlight on those needs and challenges us on how to use technology differently to meet those needs.
I mean, it's one of the things that the pandemic's done for us all is, I mean, so much of how we experience and live our company culture as now through a digital means. It's on the other side of a screen.
Yeah.
Let's unpack some of those a little bit. That first one of connection, how have we been able to understand connection better, especially when people have been having to onboard or have those water cooler chats or whatever that have gone virtual?
Yeah, that's right. Connection, that scenario is all around how do we use technology to build communications and communities, regardless where people are working. You're right. I think social capital had taken a major hit over the past few years. And while the return to office has helped a bit, our research shows that 43% of employees still feel really disconnected from their company as a whole. So there's a great opportunity for Viva to help build those connections regardless of where people are working. We support this scenario with 3 apps. Viva Connections brings employee resources, information, processes, and more into a single branded app right inside Teams. Viva Engage is our social collaboration app. It's the next evolution of Yammer, and it brings in familiar consumer social media features like short video clips. And Viva Amplify is an employee communications tool that helps leaders easily send out content across a lot of channels so that it's consistent and impactful.
Okay, so it's multimodal. So I'm able to, feel like that I've got, an engagement that is going to meet the needs of people where they are when they need it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we want to tailor it for the employees as well as for the occasions.
Okay. Next area I hear a lot about around Viva is understanding productivity, analytics, etc. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that area, Insight, is all around workplace analytics and employee feedback. And as you said, as the name implies, it's all about actionable insights to help us be better, be more productive, and stay well. I don't know if you feel this, but I think I do. I have been working more than before the pandemic times.
Right.
Do you feel the same,
Yeah,
Tom?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely see it in our Microsoft 365 usage data that the number of hours worked, number of meetings, after hours work, all have increased. And we see the same in survey that half of employees feel burnt out. But at the same time, they don't feel that they're heard enough about what they need, just not enough, pulses, surveys, etc., for them to express what it is that they need. So Viva supports a scenario with 3 apps. Viva Insights brings personal insights for individual employees, Team Insights for managers, and organizational insights for leaders based on how work is actually happening. As a manager, one of my favorite features is that I can see in aggregate, because we're all about being privacy protected, I can see in aggregate how my team is being impacted by too many large meetings, or are they working too many after hours? And then I can get research-backed tips like, okay, all right, Angela, you should set some more focus time for your team. And right inside Viva Insights, I can take an action right there to set up a no meeting Fridays, which has become a team favorite. While privacy protected, partners, with their customers' permission, can analyze all of this great workplace data to drive strategy for their customers' business, which is a great opportunity. The second app, Glint, announced to join the Viva family, is a leading voice of employee solution backed by data science. It's really powerful when leaders can bring in how their employees are feeling through the survey data with how their employees are actually doing, all of that workplace data. Very powerful together to figure out those signals to drive positive change. And one more app, Viva Pulse, is a lightweight employee survey tool. So as managers and team leaders, I can easily and quickly send out a pulse survey regularly to keep tabs on how my team is feeling.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I've actually enjoyed personally using this tool, is that it's not just giving me insights, but I have the ability to actually take actions, like you said, to do the meeting-free Friday, or actually give me some feedback around, hey, do you really want to do all of these meetings, and actually give some empowerment back,
Definitely.
It's been a real one. Next one that we were talking about was, I think, one that's really important was around purpose. And, am I aligned to the mission of where we are in terms of goal setting, and am I actually really, is the work, all these extra hours am I doing actually achieving what the company's doing? Tell me how we support that.
Yeah. You are alluding to what we have coined the productivity paranoia. We found that 87% of employees say they're feeling really productive. But when you go ask their managers and leaders, only 12% feel like they're confident that their employees are actually being productive. And we really believe the answer is clarity. Helping employees focus on what matters most. Well, Viva Goals is based on our Ally.io acquisition. It is an OKR, objectives and key results solution, so that leaders can easily define their top goals and cascade that down to their teams and individual contributors. And so everybody can stay aligned. When you look at your OKRs, you know what is important to spend time on. And more importantly, you see what's not on the OKR, things that you don't have to spend time on. So actually that both improves business results and tangentially it improves well-being.
Perfect. All right. So then the final bit we were talking about was really around growth for people. So, what's contained in growth? We spend so much time in terms of, you've obviously had quite a storied career at Microsoft. How do we support the growth in terms of people's career path, skilling growth? What's covered in this space?
Yeah. The scenario growth is all around learning and knowledge management. And skilling just continues to be a top of mind agenda for every business executive. I mean, that skill gap is just ever evolving, whether it was because of digital transformation and now maybe the next generation of AI technologies. And we certainly have all this economic turbulence. So every employee and every organization is always in this race to keep reskilling, upskilling. So Viva supports this area with two apps. Viva Topics uses AI to organize knowledge and experts across the organization automatically and puts just that right expert or that right piece of information at your fingertips when you need it. Viva Learning brings all of the learning resources into one place, a single, really useful and social-friendly app in Teams that makes you actually want to learn, besides all of those security and compliance training that we're all required to do.
Yeah, exactly. We never get sick of those at all.
No, and they're very useful. So.
Of course that. So we've covered those four main pillars. Now that we're looking at Viva as a package, what really makes it sort of differentiated from anything else that we might find as we look across the software landscape?
What a lot of customers experience out there are point apps that touches on just one or two aspects of the employee experience, like a standalone communication tool or a standalone survey app. Viva delivers an integrated experience across all of those scenarios and connecting that connection, insight, purpose, and growth into the flow of work. So that's actually rather unique out in the marketplace. The other thing that's quite unique, besides being built into the flow of work, I've already talked a lot about that, is the Microsoft 365 footprint. All of the productivity tools in Microsoft 365 are designed to work together, right? So all of that data, whether it's your Teams chat, email, calendar items, it builds up this massive, rich data pool we call the graph. And Viva really is the only employee experience platform that taps the full power of that graph. It's how Viva Insights can automatically generate organizational insights for leaders, It's how Viva Topics can suggest definitions or people you should reach out to based on a topic in Outlook email.
Wow, so it really gives a leader a way of being able to get insight to say, here's what I designed, but is it really working the way I think it does inside my organization?
Absolutely. We really think that this, you hit on this great concept. We're thinking about it as the sense and respond loop. Leaders really got to keep a regular pulse, keep a regular sense of what's happening with their employees and business, take actions, and be able to measure that again for that continuous feedback loop.
I can only imagine how many questions, conversations you've been having with customers and partners when you've been, building the product over the last couple of years. What are the questions that have worked best for you when trying to figure out, is this a really good fit for a customer and how you're going to be able to address their needs?
Yeah, I found 4 questions to be very helpful. The first, I like to ask the customers about what is their approach to building and maintaining culture in hybrid work. It often leads to a discussion around needs to help their leaders have better ways to authentically dialogue one-on-one with employees so they can really hear the feedback from the ground. It can uncover other needs like needing technology to help bridge that social fabric because employees are scattered, at the warehouse, storefront, or just in different geographical locations. The second question I'd like to ask is around, hey, how are you measuring employee engagement and well-being? How do you keep tabs on how your employees are feeling? And actually, better yet, I love asking customers if, imagine you can have a way to understand how your employees feel without even asking them. Because, back to our conversation about graph, leaders can automatically in aggregate know, gosh, how much are my employees working after hours? How burnt out are they? So you already have a pulse without even having to ask them. So that's pretty amazing. Another question I like to ask them about is, what is your approach to goals management? It leads to a dialogue around how they are prioritizing their priorities, as I hear a lot from their customers. Most, like you and I, just simply are tracking way too many initiatives, way too many priorities. And so Viva is often a very helpful tool with an established methodology to help them efficiently prioritize. And then one last question is, I like to probe them on their talent and retention strategy. And how are they making sure employees have the right resources and skills to do their jobs well? And that often leads to pain points like having too many different content experiences or just stagnant experience where your employees are coming only to take required training. So those are 4 powerful conversations that kind of lead into those 4 scenarios that we talked about earlier, and it's great to continue the dialogue from there.
I mean, these are like super powerful and incredibly impactful areas that we're touching here. I mean, so from a partner point of view, I'm a partner, I'm going in to talk to my customer. This is clearly a C-level, CEO, head of HR, business leader discussion. Where's the opportunity for partner to, elevate themselves and lead and drive those conversations? Like, is this a technical discussion? Is this an advisory discussion? Like, how do you bring this together?
Yeah, well, we have opportunities for technology transformation partners, as you said, focusing on helping our customers deploy, configure, and adopt Viva, as well as opportunities for advisory partners, which help our customers really define broadly what is that employee experience strategy the customer should have, and design and define processes and implement them. On the advisory side, we have great revenue opportunities to use Viva as a platform to deliver their consulting services. We found that Viva can often be positioned to HR and business leaders as a bridge connecting HR systems with employee productivity tools. For both types of partners, we have great engineering as well as go-to-market resources to help our partners build out their consulting practice around Viva. For example, we help partners understand how Viva can accelerate results and create a data-driven strategy. So we'll work side by side with them to ideate and design consulting offers, and then help them bring those consulting offers through our ecosystem. even in 2 years, we are already working with over 200 partners and has produced over 400 co-sell offerings.
I mean, one of the things that we've been talking about, it occurs to me that this is a little bit different, especially for our partners. What is that different thing, that different business value that you think Viva can do for partners when they're talking to their customers?
Yeah, when you first asked me, what is Viva? And I talked about creating this new product, and really it is also about us having created a brand new technology category called Employee Experience Platform. So it represents a brand new scenario, a brand new business executive level conversation that partners can now talk with their customers about that they didn't have before. So I think that's incredibly exciting. Yeah. And back to the beginning too, when you wished us a happy birthday on 2 years, yeah. We are rapidly growing and have so much more to do. So we are growing more and more APIs, for example, into our products. So again, brand new opportunities for partners to build IPs on top of Microsoft Viva. We already have partners building business travel expense experience easily into the flow of work through Viva, so it's very easy for you and I to take care of business expenses, or building role-based academies into Viva to tailor learning for specific functions and roles. So many more opportunities to come.
So if I'm a Microsoft partner and I've got the opportunity to go and present to my customer's board, maybe have dinner with the CEO tonight, whatever it is, and I've got one message I can take to them that's going to make me stand out, what message would you take to them?
Workforce engagement. Yeah. Workforce engagement is a critical topic for every business out there in today's rapidly changing world. And this new part of our Microsoft portfolio, Microsoft Viva, gives our partners a reason to engage with every single one of their customers. In fact, leading partners today are already creating new practices to address and provide help to our joint customers to realize new value streams and open up new revenue opportunities for their own companies.
Yeah, I can imagine what that's like, right? I mean, our partners are doing such a great job often of driving this digital transformation from a technology standpoint inside of their customers, our joint customers. But now to have that ability to have Viva right alongside it to reinforce, is that digital transformation landing? Have I got, my team engaged in it? Must be such a powerful thing that we can take forward with them.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. We still be that platform that people can keep building on. Angela, thank you so much for joining us today. I've learned a lot. I'm excited for the opportunities that this is opening up for our partners and our customers to learn more about themselves and continue that digital transformation journey.
Great. Thank you, Tom, for having me.
Thank you. And that wraps up today's episode. Don't forget that this episode is part of a series featuring some of our most experienced and innovative global executives, packed full of great insights and examples of how to make the most out of working alongside of Microsoft. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to check out our other episodes. No matter your industry or area of focus, the Microsoft Global Partner Engagement Team is here to enable you to achieve more. If there is any of the cloud innovation that you would like to hear more about, please send us a note so that we can create the content that meets your enablement needs. So that's our show for today. Thank you for listening, and thank you for engaging with us, and thank you for being a Microsoft partner. We'll see you on the next episode of the Microsoft Cloud Executive Engagement Series.
And that wraps up today's episode. Don't forget that this episode is a part of a series featuring some of our most experienced and innovative global executives, packed full of great insights and examples of how to make the most out of working alongside Microsoft. If you haven't already, make sure to check out our other episodes. No matter your industry or area of focus, the Microsoft Global Partner Enablement Team is here to enable you and your teams to achieve more. If you want to hear a little more of this episode, we have a podcast which has some more of our discussion and some bonus content. If there's an area of cloud innovation you'd like to hear more about, please send us a note at salesenablement-gsi@microsoft.com so that we can create content that meets your enablement needs. Thank you for listening, thank you for engaging with us, and thank you for being a Microsoft partner. We'll see you on the next episode of the Microsoft Cloud Executive Enablement Series.